Welcome back, everyone. So, let's just dive into it, shall we? I have a Commodore now. And not just any Commodore. I have the SX64, which is actually a very desirable model. I don't know a hell of a lot about Commodores. I'm just going to be completely honest with you folks. I'm not a Commodore guy. I don't swim in the Commodore pond. I don't hang around the Commodore circles. I'm just not a C64 kind of dude. I've been Amiga curious for years, but Commodores... Alright, Commodores were one of the first affordable consumer computers. Yeah, there we go. That's call it what it is. Commodore 64s are one of the most popular and affordable home computers of the 1980s. The Apple II was a close... the Apple II primarily served the educational market just because of their pricing, their deals with the educational institutions, and their ease of use, and the way software developers really focused on the educational side of things with the Apple IIs. The Apple II was the king of the public school. In fact, that's when I was introduced to the Apple II myself. And I've always maintained a love for the Apple II for what it was. I own two of them. Two fully restored Apple IIs. I've got a 2GS and a 2C. I also have a major affinity for DOS machines because my first computer at home was a DOS machine. It was a Tandy 1000. I still own that Tandy 1000, but what I do not have is a CM5 color monitor. If anybody has one, let me know. I might pay you for it, and I really could use a CM5 color monitor for my childhood Tandy. But what I got here is a Commodore. This is not my first Commodore, let me tell you. My first Commodore was a VIC-20. It was given to me. It was missing everything. It actually did work, but I quickly resold it. I got like, I don't know, $30 for it. It wasn't much. But I've had Commodore 64s and a Plus 4 given to me in the past. My aunt actually gave me a Commodore 64 that her kids used, in addition to a Plus 4. Again, I'm not a Commodore guy. I'm an Apple guy. I'm a DOS guy. Those are the machines I grew up with. Commodores were never really a part of my life. That's just the facts, Jack. So I never really cared much about them. But my coworker has been trying to sell me this machine for years, 5 years or more. He keeps asking me if I want to buy it. Do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy it? I'm like, I'm not a Commodore guy. But, I'll keep it in mind because it is an SX64, this is Commodore's portable computer. This was the answer to the Compaq portable. And it's a cool little machine. It really is. I'm cleaning it up right now. It's kind of gross. This thing has been sitting in its garage for more than a decade, and it's seen better days. I don't even know if it works. We're actually going to find out on camera if it works. I don't think he's plugged it in years. But let's take a quick walk around. Now, there's been another brush of Commodore fame. I'm going to share with you a nice story that kind of memorializes a gentleman that really helped to mentor me as a child and has done a lot for me in my youth. And he was a Commodore guy, but he was also a DOS guy too. So let me tell you about Mack. His name is Mack. He never owned a Mac. He hated Apple. But him and I would just, even as a kid, even as a 14 or 15-year-old, I would go visit him. He was an older gentleman. His wife was my first employer. She would pay me to mow her lawn and, trim the weeds and stuff. And, but her husband, Mack, was the one who taught me how to use MS-DOS. Now, Mack was a Commodore guy. I know, the name, his last name was McLaughlin, so they would call him Mack. It's a common thing for Irish people to be called Mac or Mick or whatever. But anyway, so Mack was a Commodore 64 enthusiast way back into the 1980s. And I mean, he would write software for them just for his own personal use. But he was a huge Commodore guy. When Mack passed away in 2016, his family didn't know what to do with the computer stuff that he had, so they contacted me, and they said, you know, you can have everything if you want it. And I said, you know what, I'll let me see what's there, and I'll go through it and take what I can, and we'll get rid of the rest. So Mack had a lot of old software for the Windows and PC stuff, but most of the stuff he had was pretty much not collectible and almost just garbage. And he tended to hang on to things for years, and then, you know. But he still had all of his Commodore stuff. He had a Commodore 64, monitor, printer. He had all the accessories, boxes upon boxes of software. So I said, look, here's what I'm going to do. And I told the family that I can sell this machine, and, you know, you can take the proceeds. And they said, no, you can have it. It's all yours. And if you do sell it, you can keep the money. I said, okay, fine. At the time, I had no room for or interest in anything Commodore related. I already had 2 Apple IIs. I had a dozen PCs. I had Macs. I'm like, I don't need a Commodore in my life right now. But I decided I was going to find a home for it. So I posted the Commodore stuff online, and I put it on Craigslist for local pickup. And I set the price at, I think, $150 or whatever. It was worth a good bit of money. I did some research. It was, the stuff he had some value to it, but the software was mostly copies, so no real value there. Anyway, what I did was I decided that if I found the right buyer, I would give them an absolute bargain. So I ended up finding a young gentleman who communicated to me through his father. And I could tell right off that this kid was more than likely autistic. So I said, I'll tell you what, $50, you can have it all. And I'll even drive halfway to your house. So we met halfway, $50. He got all the Commodore stuff. And he was happier than anyone I've ever seen, ever. He was so happy to have that thing. It was just good to see it go to a good home. I wanted to just give it to him for free, but I decided, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I could have, but I figured he would probably appreciate it more if he paid something for it. So, and besides, I drove an hour from my house to drop it off, or to bring it there. So I'm like, you know, I'll just $50, which is $100 off my asking price. And he was so happy. But I know that, you know, Mack would have wanted his Commodores to go to some place where they'd be appreciated, and that's what happened. I know the suspense is killing you. Does this thing work? But I have one more story about Mack, and I think since we brought him up, we need to bring up one more story, and this one's kind of interesting, especially if you're into paranormal stuff. Oh yes, this is good. This is really good. All right, so when I broke my leg, I was in a motorcycle crash in 2016. I was in the hospital, and I had my phone with me. It was the only piece of technology I had in my possession. And I got a message from my mom. And she said, I'm sorry, but, you know, Mack has passed away. And I was heartbroken. Mack was a good man. I'll never forget him. And what he's done for me, you know, growing up. And spending the time to teach me, a rambunctious, you know, teenage. I wasn't even a preteen. I was probably 10 or 11 when he taught me how to use DOS. But he spent the time, and he was always there when I needed help with, you know, with my math homework. He was a math whiz, and he was always there. Just a good man, and I still miss him to death to this day. He was an interesting guy. He always worked third shift jobs. He was kind of a night owl. He would stay up all night long, and anyway, he passed away while I was in the hospital, and so I never got to see him, never got to say goodbye to him. And while I was in the hospital for that week, my parents came to visit, and they brought my nephew, who was probably only 2-3 years old at the time. And my nephew never met Mack, didn't know who Mack was. He was too young. And didn't know what he looked like, nothing like that. So the timeline of events here is a little screwy because I was on a lot of drugs. A lot of drugs. And a lot of things, I'm not really sure what the order of events were, but what happened was my nephew got out of the car at the hospital, and he's walking towards the hospital with my family, and he points in an arbitrary direction, and he's kept saying, Mack, look, Mack, say hi, and he's waving, saying hi to this guy, Mack. Doesn't know who Mack is. Doesn't know who Mack is. And probably never even heard the name more than once in his life. And he's trying to tell he's pulling at my parents, come on, let's go see Mack. Look, there he is. He's staring right at him. And around that time, I think it was actually that moment, like a couple minutes later, they never actually got into the hospital to see me because I specifically asked the nurses not to allow any visitors except for my immediate family. That'd be my mom and my dad. I think my parents did come in to see me, but right around that time, because I think it was as they were coming to the building, I had what they call a syncope event, where I got up. The nurses were around me, and I had to start walking because I had a when you break your leg in today's world, what they do is they secure the bones together with a titanium rod, which allows you to walk while they're healing. And it's a permanent implant. It can be removed at a later. I mean, I could have it removed, but I just choose not to go through that unnecessary suffering. But the point is, they implant this rod, and you can actually walk as the bones begin to heal. And they tried to get me to walk, so they got me out of bed, and they put me on the walker, and I'm walking around. And what happened was, I remember this vividly. I actually, I almost passed out. I nearly dropped to the floor. And as I'm dropping to the floor, I saw, in my mind, I saw Mack. You could never mistake his face. And like, why? What? I didn't know what was going on. Well, I think what happened is because he didn't get to see me when he passed, he came to visit, and there's a lot about our world that we will never understand until it's too late. And that's my story. That's my story about Mack, and I thought you might enjoy it because he was a Commodore guy, and I am not. But here's a Commodore. Okay, enough of that. So, now that we've had that kind of fun, let's take a look at the exterior of this machine. So this piece is missing, but don't worry, I have it. I have this piece. I'm going to re-secure it with, I actually have the exact same adhesive that would have been used at the factory. It's a double-sided 3M product. I've got some the right width too. So I'm going to put that back on. But this handle's come undone. So there's a screw loose. And it looks like it has, that's not a social security number. That's like an asset number, but, or something. Right. But people used to engrave their social security numbers on their stuff. That used to be a thing, you know. People would do that. So let's see if we can pop this little cover off. No, I don't want to break it. But there's a screw. Maybe we can get to it from the inside. But clearly it's missing. But we'll take it apart and see. But first, we got to turn this sucker on. I'm going to snap the camera in here. I'm going to angle it at you. And we're going to lift it up. Oh, yeah. But that needs to be fixed. All right. Let's take the keyboard off. Look at that. Keyboard's pretty clean. Do we have the cable? We have the cable. This is our keyboard cable. And it plugs in underneath here. I would imagine one of these without the keyboard cable is probably a tough sell, because trying to find another cable will be very difficult. As far as I know, Commodore is long since out of business. Now this is peculiar. It has, I think Commodore did have the pound symbol on their keyboards. So this plugs in right here. RP, that's the guy I bought it from. Actually, he gave it to me. He didn't sell it to me. So, I'm not sure if I included this or not. So how did I acquire this machine? Well, my coworker has been trying to sell this to me for a long time. And he kept asking, do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy it? And I'm like, not really. I'm not a Commodore guy. So finally it came to the point where he was selling his house and he had to clear everything out. And he's downsizing and he just doesn't have the room for stuff like this anymore. So he finally said, look, you can have it. Just take it. Get it out of my face. And I said, will do. Because, does this lock? I think it does. It does. Oh, there's a lock. Nice. Okay, we can lock that in position. So he finally said, look, you can just have it. I just need it out of my house. And I said, you know what? I'll take you up on that deal. Because I know the SX64 is worth something. And this one's in pretty good shape. I mean, we don't know if it works yet. But all the little doors are in place. It has some software here. It's got music. Genesis Max Headroom. Digitized music. Oh, this could be fun. One thing I'm not a Commodore guy. Oh, it even has a cartridge. So the SX64 is basically a portable version of the Commodore 64. It should have all the same features as far as I know. But what's nice about it is it has a color screen, which is almost unheard of for portables of that time. I'm not aware of any portable computers, Windows or Mac, that had color screens. Windows, Mac, or even the Apple portable options for the 2C. They just did not have color screens. But not only does this thing have a color screen, but get this, it has a glass tube cover. Now, how cool is that? It is real glass. Look at this thing. It's filthy. The only defect here is we've got a little busted tab for the keyboard to lock into. It is missing. If it was still here, I could probably glue something in place, but it's the only real defect I can find on this machine before we power it up to see what's really wrong with it. So why don't we do that? Why don't we just see if it lights up? I'm going to take a power cord from... What do I got here? Here's a power cord. Let's see what we got. Alright, so now that we got it open, I was able to lock the handle in position. This machine, like I said, I'm not a Commodore guy. And my coworker just happens to be one. And he's a computer nut from the old days. Although he started out much younger than Mack did. I think he's only 10 years older than me. And so he was a BBS nut back when BBSs were still a thing. And as a lot of people from that time period, they were really into Commodores because they were affordable and they were plentiful. And a lot of people owned them, so there were a lot of user groups. So he was actually involved in a lot of the local Commodore user groups in the southern New Hampshire area back in the 1980s. But he had this SX64 sitting in his garage, and has had this thing for years, and it's just been sitting around. he knows I'm into vintage computer stuff, and he's offered to sell it to me on multiple occasions, and I've rebuffed his advances for a long time. I said, look, you know, I'm just not a Commodore guy. I think it would be really cool, and I think my viewers would appreciate it for what it is, but I'm just not a Commodore guy. And I said, why don't you sell it on eBay, list it? They're worth a bit of money. And he said, no, I'll hang on to it. So finally, he got to a point where he's selling his house, he's downsizing, his kids are out of the house, him and his wife, they want a much smaller home so they can better manage it. And he's like, you know what, I'm running out of space in my storage unit. You can have the SX64, I just want it gone. So here it is. So I got the keyboard attached. It's got the custom cable here. It's really too bad he engraved his initials into it. That does it does affect the value, but I don't think I'll be selling this thing anytime soon. But you guys want to know if this thing works, and I'm really nervous. This thing has been sitting for at least a decade or more, and I don't know. So I got a power cord here. We're gonna plug it in and see what shakes loose. This could be really bad. If it has any of those tag tantalum capacitors or tag tants, they'll probably be the first thing to blow up. So let's see. Where's the power switch on this thing, first of all? I don't see one. Is it in the back? Oh, there it is. Okay. I hear noises. Oh no. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so we have a white screen. Yeah, that's not a good sign. I should be getting a prompt or something out of it. Reset color. Oh, there's the reset button. Brightness. Yeah. Not good, folks. Yeah, it's got nothing. That does not bode well for this machine, guys. So maybe that's all we have for material. I wonder what this does. Fast load cartridge. I think it's dead. I should be getting like a load prompt or something like that. I'm not getting anything out of it. Yeah, it's dead. Nothing. Alright. Well, that was kind of depressing, but not unexpected either. Just checking these control knobs. Maybe there's an image here, but I'm just not seeing it. That's the color. Setting. Brightness. Well, the good thing is the tube looks good. I'm not getting any raster or anything like that. Nothing stupid. But, yeah, I'm not getting any kind of image either. Well, let's take it apart and see what we find. Alright. Again, not unexpected. Well, maybe let's put a disc in. Let's see. Now, unlike the Apple IIs, the Commodores don't boot up like automatically. Yeah, it's not doing. They should come up to a prompt, and this one's not. Okay. All right. Yeah, Apple IIs, they start up automatically. That's just the way they were designed. That's why they're so popular in public education, or were. who knows? I mean, there are probably some public schools that are still depending on them. I wish them luck. Okay, let's take it apart, shall we? All right. Never had one of these apart before. I've never had one in my possession before. Let me get a screwdriver. Okay. Well, I'm half-heartened to see that the floppy drive, the display does something, but that's something right. Something's not right. Now, how does this cover come off? Let's see. It looks like the rear cover might have to come off first. Let me unlock the handle. I can figure out how that works. Okay. Yeah, this thing needs help. This thing needs help. There we go. Okay. I think let's part this way. Let's start it off by taking off these screws. Alright. Okay, that opens up. Oh, I see. That. Okay, that reveals some serious screwage. Okay. Now, I don't know a lot about Commodores. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I'm not going to pretend to either. But, again, they've been a curiosity to me for a long time, and like I said, I've owned several of them have come into my possession over the years, but I've never really been intrigued enough to sit down and learn Commodore's operating system, and it just hasn't been something I've ever really wanted to do bad enough. This one here is kind of cool because it's the portable one. It's also a more desirable model of Commodore. And I'm sure it's fixable. Let's take the top off. Wow. Look at that. That is kind of cool. That is really cool. Let's take a look. So what we have here is what looks like could be another floppy drive. Maybe on the deluxe model, it could be a space for another floppy drive, maybe. We've got the interface connector for the card slot, and looks like this is probably the connector card. We've got our display. There's our little flyback. That's cute. Motherboard is probably going to be this guy right here, or that could be the display board. And that looks like it. Let's get some light on that here. Okay. We've got our power supply circuit is going to be this backboard here. Our display circuitry is isolated to this cage. It's actually built a little bit like the compact portable, only a lot more portable. On the back, you've got user port, whatever that means. I'm afraid we're not going to find the proverbial loose connector, or something stupid like that. But what has me intrigued is, and this is probably part of the problem, is it looks like this handle is, the screw is actually there. We just need to screw it in. but we have to get this cover off to do that. Well, we'll have to work on that. I thought maybe a screw had fallen in, but that did not seem to be the case. I mean, there's nothing obvious here. It's going to take some real troubleshooting, and I don't know where to start. I really don't know where to start. Commodores are not my thing. Especially ones that have been sitting for 20 years. What could have possibly gone bad in that time? Reset. EXT. Very modular construction. Seriously. Damn it. This son of a bitch was glued on. You ever watch that movie Saw, where like the guy has to tear his eyes out to remove a key to save his life or some shit like that? This is one of those circumstances. In order to fix this, I had to do a destructive... Like, there's no clean way to remove that. Like, are you kidding me? Well, I have all the pieces. Most of the pieces, I'm just going to glue it back on, I guess. It looks like somebody actually glued it on after the fact. I think this has been apart before. I don't know. That's really unfortunate. Oh, son of a bitch. I'm not happy about that. Well, you know what? Let's get it running. But at least the handle's attached now correctly. Ugh. That is just terrible. So I've been reading a little bit about, what could happen or what would cause this no start issue. It could be a faulty RAM chip. Probably is a faulty RAM chip. But what's also interesting is a lot of these chips, according to this resource I found, right there, a lot of the chips are intercompatible with the Commodore 64, and so that's something too. But my gut reaction is, oh, the contrast is way out of whack, but I don't know. It doesn't have a video output, does it? No, it doesn't. But if it had a composite video output, that would be very helpful. It has a Commodore video port on the back. So if I had an external monitor I could plug it into, a Commodore monitor, I could see if maybe that was the issue, but it doesn't seem to be likely at this point. Yeah, I've got to do some more research. Here's the thing. The caps lock button works, which tells me that this thing might not be as dead as I thought. That's interesting. Well, in a modern computer, if the caps lock button works, you're getting, life, because it's communicating back to the CPU and saying caps lock on or off. But the Commodore, it might be like a local setting on the keyboard. I mean, so the keyboard is getting power, that we know. Let's see. I gotta look up some basic commands. Okay, so I have found the problem. Now, I didn't do any troubleshooting, but I found a video that seems to have the exact same problem. Here we go. Airborne Surfer is a YouTuber that I just learned about, and he has a C64 with the exact same problem. And he went through the procedure of loosening up, removing chips, using Dissolve it. What's that stuff he used? Contact cleaner, basically, to clean all the contacts, and reseating cables, and nothing worked. It turns out there's a very common problem. It's a PLA chip. Now, I don't know what that is, but you can buy the chips. They're so common that they actually sell replacement versions. we are going to replace the PLA chip in this Commodore, and we are going to try to get it running again. I just need to figure out which chip that is, and that's it. We'll just do that. So that's what's going to happen. So wish me luck. We're going to get this thing running. I'll do it in another video. So again, I'm really upset about this. This is not what I was hoping to have happen. I think what happened was that ring fell off and then somebody glued it on. And I still have the ring, and I'm going to do my best to piece it back together, and hopefully we'll have that resolved. What are you going to do, right? So again, we're going to replace the PLA chip once I do my homework and figure out where that chip is. I know where I can buy it, so we will make this thing run again. What I like about it, though, is the display looks good and strong. I crank the brightness up, and there's no horizontal raster or anything crazy like that. It's a nice, clean image. It doesn't appear to be burned in. I think we can clean this up real nice, and we'll get it running again. These are worth a few bucks in running conditions, so I'm hoping that I'm not wasting my time on something that just... Not that value is everything, but I wouldn't put any effort into something that was absolutely worthless. So I don't think we're wasting our time. I think this is well worth the effort. So, and this will be my opportunity to learn about what makes the Commodore so great. And I'm actually kind of excited about it. And what better way to learn about an obsolete platform than on one of its, rarer examples? The SX64 is. I'm finding that there are some issues, or not some issues, but there are some compatibility concerns with certain C64 software. But we're gonna explore that too. So here's to the future. All right. It's the Programmed Logic Array chip located at U17. I don't know if U17 is the same position on the SX64 board. Let's pull the board out. Let's just pull the board out and see if we can find that chip. All right, so on the SX64, here's how it kind of maps out. You've got your power supply board in the back. You've got your I/O board up here. You've got your display circuitry all secluded over here on this side. You've got your this, I believe, is our floppy floppy interface, perhaps. All right, we got to pull to get the board out. Looks like I'm gonna have to remove this. This has to come out for sure. So we'll just pull these and do all these connectors here. Are they marked P11? Are they yeah, these could be flipped around. So I'm gonna mark these with a marker. Are they P11? I'm gonna mark this with an 11, and this one's P13. Mark that with a 13. All right, so we need to get those mixed up. Okay. Looks like this board is held in place by a metal bracket, so we have to undo a couple of plastic fasteners here. There. These little plastic rivets are sometimes a pain in the neck, especially as they age. You gotta kind of push the little pin in. There we are. You gotta remove that pin. There we go. And okay, that's gonna come out with the board. So I've got a pin to push it over here. There we are. Put these aside. So on the C64, it's on position U17. I don't have a decent soldering kit at my house, but I have all that equipment at work. So I'll probably make, once I get the part, I'm going to make the repair at work, where I have all my good equipment. And that's what we're going to do. Okay. Now, I wish I had better lighting in this office. I'm going to use the camera as a makeshift light. Alright, here we are. I got something hanging us up right here. Looks like the power connector. Can I remove this easily? No. Not so much. Yeah, it's buried way down inside. I can't remove it. I got this side all squared away though. So let's undo these. Okay. Yeah, I might have to remove the whole back cover, so let's get this thing off of its stand. Take the keyboard off. There. Do the let's take that screw out in the back. Take this one out too. There we are. Yeah, there we go. That makes it a little easier. And now we can get to the power connector in the back here. Alright. There we go. So, from what I've been reading, like I said, the PLA chip is the problem. I can unplug this little daughter card here. Careful. Position U17. Is it U17? Let's find out. UD1, UC1, UD7, UE4, UE3. Is it on this board or is it on another board? Let's see. Could be on this one. Let's take this one out here. I'm not even going to try to get it running at this point without replacing that chip. If it's such a common issue, because I'm looking at the comments on that video, and they're saying that, I mean, there's like dozens of people. Same problem, replacing that chip fixed it, end of story. So, I'm going to just go with my gut and say, you know what? If it's not the problem now, it will be in the future. I bet you V Westlife has one of these, or he's already done this procedure on one. I should check. He's got a lot of Commodore and Amiga stuff. Then again, ooh, what do we have here? Oh, that's nothing. I thought I found the smoking gun. What do we got? This is the I/O board. And these are MOS chips, but they're not labeled U anything. Where is U17? Damn it. Alright, let's there's another card here. This is what is this board? Not familiar with the inner workings of the, obviously I'm very new to this platform. I mean, this is like totally new to me. UA1. What the fuck? Come on. UD. I'm not finding the U17. UA4? What the hell? It must be in a different spot on this model. So let's do some more homework, shall we? That should be it right there. That's the 906114. That's got to be it. Yeah, pretty sure that's the only 906114 in the system. 901229. Yeah, this is like a whole new world to me. I am not familiar with these machines, but if and what's interesting is on this machine it's socketed, so that makes it easy to replace. It can be done in 5 seconds, and then we'll know. This looks quite tempting. This is an eBay find. It is a 906114 equivalent. If anybody has any ideas as to whether that is a good idea or not. But for 15, 16 bucks free shipping, I'm willing to bargain. I'm willing to experiment and see what happens. This could be interesting. So, any thoughts? That's what I'm going to buy. If you guys say not to, let me know what else to get. I want to get it running again. I'm determined I'll get it running again. So anyway. Until then, I don't have any Commodore software, so I've got to start working on. Well, let's don't put the horse before the cart or whatever. Actually, I do have some Commodore software in here. There is some stuff in here. I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, right here. I got a 1541 demo disc. I've got that. I got payroll. What's in here? WordPerfect. I do have some old Commodore stuff. I know I do. I had some stuff that kind of got slid through the cracks. I think this has a Commodore version in here. IBM Tandy Apple II Commodore 64. I have a copy of Win, Lose, or Draw for the Commodore 64. It's in here somewhere. Commodore 64. Hey, I have an IBM version. I didn't know I had that. Cool. Win, Lose, or Draw. What else do I have? One of these disk files, I'm pretty sure I have something. I gotta get this all cleaned up. I actually had an old Oh, I got rid of it. I had a game. I forget what it was. It was like space something. Of course, in 1985, everything was space related because, you know, space and all. But it's gone. I had another one of these disk files that actually did have some Commodore stuff. It's still in it. I'm gonna make sure I keep this off its clothes so the cats don't get at it. I think it's in here. Let's see what we got. Paint, show, Irwin, easy tape, system utilities. No. Maybe it's the other one. Maybe it's in this one. Careful. Alright. No, those are all blanks. Word perfect. Yeah, Jeopardy. Yeah, this is all my PC stuff. Got some blanks. I got plenty of stuff for PCs. Alright, well, there you go. Stay tuned. This could get real fun real fast. Be there.